What's going on, everybody? Today, I'm going to break down putting a down payment on a VA home loan. Does it make sense? Does it not? I've been getting so many questions lately when people call in or we schedule a call and they're like, "Hey, I got 10,000 to put down or 20,000 to put down. Should I actually do that or leverage the 100% financing?" So it's a great question, and I want to break it down in today's video. My name is David Piatek. I am a loan officer able to help you utilize the VA home loan. So if you schedule a call with me, always happy to go through it with you. If you just check out the description down below, you'll be able to do that. So let's kind of dive into why people want to do a down payment on a VA home loan. So the question or the why someone wants to do it is going to vary widely. So one part that you have for this is that if you are not service connected for a VA disability, then your VA funding fee is higher. Okay, and I'm going to explain why. If you do 100% financing the first time around and you are not service connected, you pay like a 2.15% VA funding fee that gets rolled into the mortgage. If you use the VA loan for the second time and you don't do a down payment and no, you don't are not service connected or 10% or more, you pay a 3.3% VA funding fee. That's huge. Plus refinancing, you pay VA funding fees on all of those. So that is something to consider, right? Because if you're buying a property and you do a 5% down, well, all of a sudden that VA funding fee drops drastically. And then you do another 10% down, it drops a little bit more. So sometimes it's going to make financial sense because you may be sitting on the money and you don't want to pay the VA funding fee. And then for other people, they're trying to focus in on, well, how do I lower my monthly payment so I'll be able to purchase a higher property? The other part with that is sometimes it's a combination of things. I am selling my home and I have a VA loan. I'm selling it. I'm buying a new one. I'm going to cash out and I'm going to have some money. What do I do with that money? So this is where this next part comes into play. So I created a very, very simple Excel sheet. Okay. In this Excel sheet, let me just change this to 6% because I was kind of playing around with the numbers and I'll play around with the numbers with you guys as well. What I did, then this is for educational purposes only, right? We need numbers to show you guys what things look like, and you can create something like this at home if you'd like. So I did 6% interest rate, kind of like what I pulled, right? 360 months, that's the term. And essentially, I kind of did some mortgage math backwards, and essentially I'm using this is the loan amount, this is the rate, this is the term. You can create this in an Excel relatively easy. So $5,000 equates to about a $30 a month payment difference, right? $20,000, $120 a month, $50,000, $300 a month, $100,000, $600 a month, okay? And so again, everyone's financial situation is different, and that's something we can go over together. For some people, right, if you're sitting, well, I have 20,000, right, and it's saving me 120 bucks a month, you may find that that 20,000 could be better used somewhere else, like, oh, we want to update the kitchen. We want to be able to do blank. And the reason why I mention that is because if you did a renovation loan, renovation wouldn't, let's say if market rate in this example is 6, a renovation loan may be 1.5% higher, right? So now you're paying more money or higher interest on that money. So, sometimes it's better to take the cash you have and leverage it, right? The other part is that if you're looking at the $100,000 mark, now remember, if you don't do a down payment, obviously you're paying more in interest over the life of the loan, right? We understand that. But again, this is just kind of an option. Like, can this money be used somewhere else? Because if rates are 6, hypothetically, but you can make 10% somewhere else in markets, and I'm not a financial advisor, but you could talk with one, right? Then people leverage money in different ways. So then it might make sense. Right? So same thing. You may be buying a house right now and you're like, man, we have the 100,000 to put down, but the house just needs some serious work to it. It's going to run us 100,000. Well, again, is it worth to do the 100% financing and then use that money to renovate the house, right? That could be something. And if rates drop later, you can always do an interest rate reduction refinance loan. Now be careful with those. I have a whole bunch of videos on that talking about mistakes people make with these renovation loans or costs. And I've seen people get taken to the cleaners because of that. So in this case, let me show you guys what a 3%, because everyone wants rates to drop down as low as possible, right? So at 3%, you start having the discussion again, right? If $20,000 costs me 85 bucks a month. Is that worth doing? If $100,000 down payment, is it worth it if I'm saving, or if it would save me $421? And I'll give you guys an example. During COVID time, right, we had rates at an all-time low, and then we had stock market was doing really, really well, right? An anomaly, right? I don't really foresee that happening anytime soon, but it happened during that time. So people would strategically cash out 100% of the value of their home. They would cash out as much money as they can because they got 2% or 2.25% interest rates, and then they took that money and earned 10% on it. Genius move on their part, right? Or people did large down payments to cover appraisal gaps because the rates were so low, and they realized that back then that, well, if I can buy this place, I know that I'm not going to pay much interest on it. And this is evident here too, right? Because if you had a 2% interest on a mortgage, I mean, look at that. On $100,000, you're paying $369 compared to almost the $600, right? The opposite happens if rates go to 9%, right? That same mortgage payment goes up for $100,000, goes up to $804. Now, this is typically, and let me just show you guys this. This is typically what I use when someone's asking about price points of properties, right? So let's say you look at a property and it's $300,000 and the payment's whatever, right? If you were to calculate, well, how much more would I pay if I would pay $10,000 more for the property? Well, it'd be $60 a month. And this is a negotiation tactic that you can leverage for yourself, right? Because sometimes there's escalation on prices. So you're like, well, do I really want to spend $15,000 more? What does that even mean to me? $90 a month is what it means, right? Again, your situation might be different. You might be renting a property, or you are like, well, if I look at my budget, I could save $90 easy by canceling some subscriptions or staying in one night because it is expensive to go out. And then now I can actually buy the home that I want, because as we know historically, values continue to go up. So the longer you wait, so the values can continue to rise. Right now we see a pricing adjustment, but that's to be expected. But values have gone up significantly over the last probably about 12, 13 years. And we do see a slowdown, but that's just because people are kind of getting back into the groove of like, yes, we have low rates, but we do need to get a bigger home, or we need to downsize. So all those things are being factored in right now. So hopefully I brought you guys some good value. Please make sure you guys drop a comment down below, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.